This broadcast is a Stephen K. Media production.
The success of the small business person is the cornerstone of the American economy. Welcome to the Small Business Today Show with your hosts, Hughes and Hughes. The Small Business Today Show is for and about small business advancement and development. What we do for you. We'll be taking your calls as we provide you small business intelligence and mentorship needed to grow your business creatively. Keep listening. The Small Business Today Show with Cruz and Hughes starts now.
Hello and welcome back to today's episode of Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. I'm John Cruz.
I'm Irv Hughes.
And this is the place where we discuss the topics that inspire entrepreneurs from thought to action. We're glad to have you with us today. Guys, we've got a great show lined up for you today. We have a great guest in the studio, and if you're watching us on Ustream, then I know that you can see the pretty lady that is sitting to Irv's left. And if you're not watching us on Ustream, well, just stay tuned. We're going to bring her to the mic here in just a moment. Irv.
Yes, sir.
How was your day today, sir?
Man, I had a great day today. You know what we talked about today?
What was that?
Advocating small businesses.
That's what we do here.
That is what we do. You know, and I'm excited about these opportunities that we're going to create to really quarterback some relationships for some people and really give people some connections on how they can make some money.
So if you're in the Houston area, what Irv is alluding to, we have something that's brewing and in the works to help small businesses make better connections. Because I think even on yesterday's show, we talked a little bit about when you're working in your business, you're not taking the time necessary to do the things that are focused on you working on your business. And one of that is connecting, finding out what other people are doing, finding out who those persons are and getting to know them, establishing relationships. And that's what this show is all about. And that's what we do here.
Absolutely. And, you know, folks, we spent probably the better part of the morning literally talking with some industry experts about how to facilitate relationships for you, not only in your business, people to help you with your business. If you have a small business, a lot of times you don't have a management team. And that's very difficult a lot of times if you're trying to grow your business, because why? You don't have a legal department. You don't have an HR department. You don't have an accounting department or a finance department. These things are very critical to the inner workings of your business and making sure that your operation runs efficiently. And so we talked about that. And then we also talked about external help. In other words, getting how do you find the relationships that's going to help you ultimately get to a sale or a sales opportunity, and then how do you develop trust such that you can convert those opportunities into some cash?
Absolutely, and it all comes down to that.
It really ultimately comes down to that, and guess what? If you don't have both, you know, you can wind up with your company running reasonably inefficient, which means that, yeah, you may be making some money, but nowhere close to what you could be if you had all these things in place and had the kind of support, the kind of people in place that would help support your growth.
So if you're in the Houston area, as I said, stay tuned. We're going to be, you know, giving you more information as we roll things out. But what we do on this show is for and about you. If there's anything that we can do, if there's a certain type of expert that we can bring on the show to help you in your business, all you have to do is drop us a line. You could always email me at john@cruzandhughes.com, or you could email Irv at
Irvin@cruzandhughes.com.
All right. Now, we have a great guest. Let's go ahead and get straight to her today. She's got a fantastic story. I want to give her enough time to talk about what she's doing and some of the things that she has to, or rather had to do to persevere as a small business person. Our guest is Miss Judy Blake, and Judy is the author of a book called Judy's World, which is a moving story of Judy's life, being the single mother of 2 special needs children. Now, Judy is also a public speaker, and today we're going to discuss not only Judy's book, but we're going to talk about her personal life and how she manages as an entrepreneur despite those challenges. And we want to say welcome to the show, Judy.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Well, very happy to have you here.
I love it.
Very cool. Hughes, that's us.
That's right.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about the book. Now, the name of the book is called Judy's World, and it's the world of autism through the eyes of a mother.
Yes.
What inspired you to write this book?
I had been giving public speeches for about 10 years. Someone had approached me and said, we're having a community-wide day of learning, and we want you to be a speaker. Like, me? You got to be kidding. Yes, you can do it. Like, okay. And I found that it came very naturally. Back then, 10 years ago, I used to write out what I wanted to say. Now I just speak extemporaneously because I've done it now for 10 years. It just comes naturally. And that was the beginning about 10 years ago. And everyone kept saying after every speech that I gave, we want to hear more. We want the stories. You need to write a book. I'm like, yeah. There's so many books on autism. Do we really need another one? Yes, we do, because it came from you.
Sure.
And last year, I self-published Judy's World.
You self-published?
I self-published.
Wow.
I sure did. And it's gone very well. Always want to do better, but it has gone very well. And it really came to the point when my oldest son had graduated high school and my youngest son was going to be entering high school. So it was a great time to start putting that all into writing.
Sure.
Because that was a wonderful breaking point, if you will, or a wonderful a time when, okay, this is where I want to mark this period in their lives and in my life. And then in maybe another 4 years, then maybe there will be another book.
Now let's talk a little bit about what's in the book. I know, and you know, the subtitle is "The World of Autism Through the Eyes of a Mother."
Sure.
But as I read in your intro, you have 2 special needs children.
I do, and it's interesting. For those of your listeners who do not know, you know, we're hearing a lot more about autism. It's existed for a long time, probably 50, 60 years, if not more.
Wow.
But people didn't know then what they know now. Autism is a social communication disorder. Well, you two know more than anybody the importance of communication
Absolutely.
and social skills.
Sure.
No two people with autism are alike, and 75% affected are boys.
Really? I didn't know that.
75%
Wow,
versus
that's-
25% girls.
That's news. Let me ask you this, Judy. What exactly is autism? What is it, or is it definable? I mean,
It is. It is a neurological disorder.
Okay.
I and many other people believe that it is genetically based. Somewhere in the family, someone had autism. And people will say, well, no one in my family had autism that you know of,
Right.
that you're aware of. Because again, we're so much smarter today. Not so much that medicine has changed, but that technology has changed. Because it's a genetic disorder, though, it's not as though you can see it in a blood test,
Sure.
see it on an x-ray. It's a spectrum disorder. Where does the person fall? Mild to moderate to severe. Remember the movie Rain Man?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Classic example of someone who is on the autism spectrum, but on the more severe end.
Okay.
You know, clearly couldn't function outside of the home. Tom Cruise tried to take him to Vegas to count cards.
Right.
And people with autism really have so much to offer this world, but because you can't see the disability, meaning like Down syndrome or cerebral palsy, people tend to judge unfairly. And because people on the spectrum tend to be sort of egocentric, because it's what's on their mind and that's what matters, they tend to be misjudged. And that is the problem. But in answer to your question, social communication disorder, neurologically based, and it can affect your speech and delays. It affects social skills. And with autism, it's not uncommon, like my boys, to also have anxiety disorders, obsessive compulsiveness, ADHD. So it isn't just autism, it encompasses your entire being.
Now, how old were your sons when you recognized that something isn't right?
You know, I knew right when he was, you know, even as early as a year old, I'm like, something isn't right, but nobody could tell me. This was 20 years ago.
What were the? You know what? We're going to go into break, but when we
Sure.
come back, I want to know what those characteristics are. Because,
Absolutely.
Because I think as a parent, we are really that front line of defense in terms
Absolutely.
of knowing, you know, the status and standard that our children should be growing into, how they should be
Exactly.
developing. And I think that sometimes we may overlook some of those things. And that's why I want to have you talk to us a little bit
Be
about
happy
that.
to.
Our guest today is Miss Judy Blake. Judy is a speaker and an author. She wrote a book called Judy's World. If you'd like to connect with Judy, you could do so by going to her website, judysworld.info. Stay with us more with Miss Judy Blake when we return. You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes, and it's brought to you by Small Business Today magazine, the magazine that's for and about Houston's entrepreneurs. If you'd like to get your free subscription, go to smallbusinesstodaymagazine.com. We'll be back in just a moment.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now,
Excuse me, heavy news?
you know, disasters, politics, stock market,
And this alternative is...
coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan,
Storm's coming.
the legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Gotham Reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruzandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
Okay, welcome back to the show. If you're just joining in, you've come in at a good time. Our guest today is Miss Judy Blake, and Judy is a speaker, an author, and I'm going to add a tagline to that, and also an entrepreneur. She wrote a fantastic book called Judy's World, which she brought in, and this is what the front of the book looks like. We're talking about Judy's book today. It's the story of how she managed raising 2 boys as a single parent that were both special needs. We went to break, Judy. We were talking about what were those first signs that you saw that let you know as a parent that something's not right with my son?
And that's a great question. He missed the milestones, the crawling, the sitting up, the turning over. But I was told by the pediatrician, he's a boy, and sorry guys, but you do develop a little bit slower
that's
sometimes.
Right. I didn't walk to my first birthday,
There
so
you
I
go.
was lazy.
There you go. And look up, now you're running.
Yeah,
There
right.
you go. And so I was told that, there's those ranges. But then by the time he reached 18 months old, he was falling further behind and the gap was widening. And my doctor said, you know what? Something isn't right. I'm like, I know.
I've been telling
what
you that.
is it?
Yeah.
He didn't know. And we were living in Detroit at the time. And my husband and I were like, okay, what's the story? We moved to Illinois. They couldn't tell us. We had him tested by the school district, and we were told speech delay and fine motor delay. I'm like, fine, so he won't be an artist. He has poor motor skills. Got him speech therapy. And the preschool even said, something isn't right. I know. And it wasn't until we moved to Houston when he was almost 4 years old. This was in 95.
Okay.
And we had that parent-teacher conference that you have 8 weeks into the school program. And I walk in, and there's the 2 teachers and the principal and the headmaster. And, I have to have humor in my life. And I said, ladies, either you're going to tell me we have a childhood genius on my hands, or Houston, we have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Houston, we have a problem.
Sure.
Collectively, these women had probably 70 to 80 years of experience. They didn't know. And it wasn't until I was sent to a fabulous specialist. He was a developmental pediatrician in Houston, Dr. Danny Williamson, great doctor, went for the evaluation, and he was the one who told us.
After all that.
After all that. And Jason was doing things like, I was a political news junkie. Now I don't have time to be. But there was this great show called Equal Time with Mary Madeline, and I forget who her counterpart was. It was kind of like the Democrats versus the Republicans. My son, at 3 years old, loved watching that show.
Wow.
What child? I'm thinking, do we have a future politician on our hands?
What adult?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No kidding. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And all of these signs, like the meltdowns and the tantrums, all kids have that, but it was extreme.
Okay.
And that's what you have to remember with people who have special needs. It's usually extreme. We can all have days when we are socially awkward.
Right.
We can all have days when we might be a bit anxious, or, we all have things we obsess about. But the key is, does it paralyze you? Does it cripple you?
Yeah.
And if it does, I'm not diagnosing you because I'm not an MD.
Right.
But it warrants further investigation.
Wow. So now you're talking about this, of course, from the standpoint of a parent, a mother.
Exactly.
And so you're spending a lot of time with your children, and so you can pick up on this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as it pertains to a small business, or even a large business for that matter, here you are, you own a business. Maybe you have a great employee that you've hired.
Right.
And you find out that something's not quite right here.
Exactly.
What do you do? Because, Judy, to me, that's a little disconcerting, perhaps even scary for some. Because if you mishandle this thing, now you've got legal issues, you've got personnel issues, and if you're a small business, you don't have an HR department that necessarily advises you on what you should be doing. What do you do? Or perhaps maybe a better question is, are the same signs and symptoms there when this person maybe is an adult now?
It depends on the intervention they received as a child.
Early
intervention is critical. And I do trade shows, I do book fairs, talk shows, television shows, and I'm a speaker for parenting groups. And I was at Shell Oil today. They have a group for their employees who are affected by special needs. And they posed that same question. And the best answer that I could give is education, education, education.
Sure.
Because every manager, I promise you, has come across somebody who is different.
Right.
They're brilliant. They have so much to offer the company, but they are very quirky.
Right.
They are sometimes difficult. And when you have the monthly birthdays and everybody's celebrating, or you have the summer picnic or the holiday party, sometimes people on the spectrum, they don't want to socialize.
Right.
No offense, they don't really care how your weekend was. And that's not to say that all people on the spectrum are like that, because no people with autism are alike. My older son, who's 21, he is a social butterfly. He can be socially inappropriate, but socially he tries so hard to fit in. So he wants to know how your weekend was. He wants to meet you, and he wants to be your friend. My 17-year-old, if you were bleeding on the street, he would call 911. He might do that for you. But other than that, no offense, you're not in his world, so he's really not that concerned.
Right.
And that's what managers need to understand. Does the person add value to the team from the work standpoint, from the project standpoint?
Sure.
Are they contributing to the goals of the project? Are they completing the project? And if they are, that has a lot of value.
Well, most of the time I've heard, and I've just heard this, so I don't know that this is a myth or not, but most of the time I've run across instances where perhaps someone in the workplace was suspected, and I'm going to use the word suspected, of having some issue, perhaps autism.
Right.
And they're the superhuman person in the group. I mean, they have some extraordinary talent. And,
they sure do.
And most of the time they really do. Being able to, I came from Compact Computer many years ago, and I ran the West Coast for them for a while. And I remember a young lady who was on our team. I was a consultant there. But she had this ability to literally remember every part number that we had to configure servers with, and nobody else.
A numerical savant, if you will.
Exactly,
yes,
and that's incredible.
And that's incredible. No, we had computers and we couldn't do it.
Right. And
so I've run across instances like this. Now, this was the only thing. She was very, 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 very sociable. But there were instances, places like she didn't go to, she was like given permission not to go to our meetings because if the meeting was in a small meeting room or something, this would be very unnerving for her.
Right.
And she would really fidget and have problems.
Probably some anxiety in
things
there.
like this. Yes.
More than just your average claustrophobic.
But we all got used to it to the point that we literally, as a group of employees, we almost sort of started protecting her, so to speak, that we changed where we would go to meetings so she could attend. And
that's wonderful.
We did all kinds of things, and it wasn't something that management asked us to do as employees. We just sort of did it because she was such a tremendous value to our team, because we would just ask her, hey, what's part number such and so? We're looking for this. Oh, that's number this, that, and the other, and we could put it in the computer and boom, fix the problem. And so is it a myth that a lot of people with autism really have these gifts, or do you find that many of them do have gifts?
They do. It's so hard because the Centers for Disease Control came out with their latest statistic that 1 in 88 children will be diagnosed with autism.
1 in 88.
And that is a staggering figure.
Wow.
Everybody needs to understand what autism is, because you will in some way, shape, or form be affected of it.
Right.
Maybe not now, but you will very soon. In answer to your question, it is not unusual for someone who is on the spectrum to have a gift like that. And I call it a gift because I think it is.
Sure.
My 21-year-old's gift is numbers. He can do mental math in his head. He is getting his master's in education and wants to be a history teacher because he can remember historical facts. I promise you he gets that from his father, because his father is brilliant. He does not get that from his mother, I can promise you. He gets the social skills from his mother. But my younger son, we're still trying to tap in.
Sure.
Autism can be mild to moderate to severe. Autism is also called Asperger's syndrome. PDD-NOS, which stands for Pervasive Developmental Disorder, not otherwise specified. Some people call it high-functioning autism. So if you had everybody in the world who had this diagnosis, then you could determine who are the savants and who are not. We really don't know. And keep in mind that those who are nonverbal, they may be brilliant, but they just can't communicate it. And that's where iPads come in, and that's where technology comes in.
Because I was going to say, doesn't that bridge the gap for them a lot of times?
Absolutely. It is incredible.
Yeah.
It is incredible what technology has done for those who are non-verbal, because they could know so much, but it's locked in there. And my 17-year-old, who is completely verbal, But he's also got Tourette's, and he also has OCD, and he also has anxiety, and he has trichotillomania. He pulls his hair out.
Wow.
So
He's
there's so
managing a
much.
lot, yeah.
What is going on inside of his brain?
Yeah.
When we come back, Judy, I would love for you to just very quickly, when we come back, talk about the difference between autism, anxiety, and OCD.
Sure.
Because I think that's a broad thing, and maybe a lot of people have dealt with some or all of that and can't tell what the differences are.
Sure.
Is that okay? Okay, great. Folks, you're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. It's brought to you by RingCentral.com. To get RingCentral's virtual PBX for your business, you can call them today at 888-716-5022. More in a moment with Miss Judy Blake right after this.
Turn up the sales on your website today with AnythingInternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with AnythingInternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cuny is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancuny.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at,
Excuse me, heavy news?
you know, disasters, politics, stock market,
And this alternative is...
coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and in family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan. The storm's coming. The legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Gotham Reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Our guest today is Miss Judy Blake. Judy is a speaker, an author, and an entrepreneur. She's written a book. It's called Judy's World, and the subtitle is The World of Autism Through the Eyes of a Mother. We're talking a little bit about Judy's life and some of the challenges that she had raising 2 autistic or 2 special needs children as a single parent. Now, Judy, you were going to answer a question that Irv set up for us in the last segment, and then from there, I want to sort of transition how you've sort of managed your entrepreneurial pursuits along with raising your sons.
Yeah, and Judy, the question was really, can you share with people and share with us, what are some of the differences between autism, anxiety, and OCD?
Okay. Somebody who has autism may have anxiety and obsessive compulsive disorder.
Okay.
But that's not to say that every person with autism has also anxiety and obsessive compulsive disorder. Obsessive compulsive disorder manifests itself, for example, my son, when he is at dinner, probably gets up about 5 times to wash his hands. And I think a lot of people think of that commonly.
Sure.
When they think of OCD.
Mm-hmm.
He has to, at one point, when he has a glass of water, it has to have 6 ice cubes.
Not 5.
Not 5. Nope, not 5. When I used to make a grilled cheese sandwich for him, it was cut into 6 pieces. So once in a while, I'd cut it into 5. Mom?
Yeah.
Getting him dressed in the morning, it's getting better, but it's still an issue. His socks, for whatever reason, I buy Hanes. You know, the little thin stripe at the toe?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
They both have to be red or they both have to be blue. The reinforced toe has to be the same. People who have OCD, things have to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
They can't help themselves. When he closes the car door on my minivan, it has to make a certain sound. Anxiety, they're constantly worrying, a lot of times about things you can't predict. Perfect example, the weather.
Wow.
He does not do well in rain and thunderstorms. He does not do well. It's gotten better now that he's 17. He used to go hide in my closet with his Game Boy, PSP, DS, whatever you want to choose, with the lights on so that he didn't have to hear or see the rain coming down or hear the thunder crashing or see the lightning because he had such severe anxiety. I have never run out of gas. Never. If that tank gets a little bit to even close, Mom.
He's constantly reminding you.
Oh, you better believe it. Because everything to him, he wants that structure. He wants that routine.
Yeah.
And for all kids, as a parent, you should have that structure and you should have that routine.
That's right.
But you know what? Life is unpredictable.
Right.
And we all know that. So I would have to sometimes have the sandwich in 5 pieces, or even though it was raining, obviously if it was a flood watch or a tornado watch, I wasn't going to start running out just to go to the movies.
Sure.
But if it was raining, Ryan, it's okay.
Yeah.
Put on your windbreaker. We have umbrellas. And let's go.
Yeah.
But we're going to get wet. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's very complicated. And again, we all have our days when we're anxious. We all have our days when we obsess over things. You know, we're trying to meet a deadline. We're hoping we get that client. So we're obsessing over it. But does it paralyze you?
Yeah.
And in Ryan's case, it is paralyzing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I think about you having to manage this with 2 sons, as well as manage a career, make a living, because you were a single parent. And even now you have an event that you are bringing here to Houston.
Thank you. Yes.
And I want to talk a little bit about that. Where did you find the balance? I mean, because I would think with children who have these needs, you can't just leave them with anyone.
You can't. And that's a great question. I was divorced when my children were 4 and 7. So it's been now about 12 years. And yes, it has been difficult. I worked in the beginning 2 part-time jobs, one at my son's school and another in event planning.
Okay.
And that's what I did. So everything was, I went through a tank of gas every 4 days because I'm taking one child to one school, one child to another school, speech therapy, occupational therapy, social skills. So I worked 2 part-time jobs in the beginning. And then I worked 2 one job. And it was dropping them off, working, dropping them back off at home, hiring sitters so that I in turn could go to work, either nights or weekends.
Now, and you turned event planning into a business?
Well, I did. A couple of stops along the way. I did food service and I did managing. I managed a restaurant. And my kids were in aftercare. And I never thought I would be one of those parents who had them in the after-school program care. But what could I do?
Right.
So I was picking them up at 5:30, 6 o'clock. And the guilt was terrible.
Yeah.
Because we never want to do that.
Yeah.
But
Right.
what could I do? Because I needed to make a living. And yes, their dad was incredible about child support and on time, every time. But as the mom, they were primarily with me, except for the Wednesday nights and
Sure.
every other weekend.
Yeah, because you still got to do it.
You
Yeah,
still
that
have
physical
to do
care
it.
has to be there.
Yeah, you still gotta do it.
Absolutely. And you're right. Finding sitters at times was difficult because I wasn't just going to leave them with
Surely.
anyone. Thank God my kids in that respect were pretty adaptable. And I could have sitters, and they were people that we either knew or the children of parents that we knew, and that helped tremendously.
Certainly.
When I started my own business and decided, let's take the plunge, Cirque Imagination was born about 4 years ago. And the beauty is that I work from home. And when I say the beauty, I mean the beauty. Because I could run them to school in shorts,
Yep.
come home,
Yep.
work. And if I had to have a parent-teacher conference, if I had to pick them up at 3 o'clock, I left in shorts and picked them back up.
Right.
And at least they knew I was working from home, but at least I was physically there.
Sure.
And that helped tremendously.
Sure.
So I am a huge advocate for being entrepreneurial because when you're a single parent, yes, it's stressful having your own business, but the joys of being able to pick up your son from school, take your kids to school, have that parent-teacher conference, and still go to networking events. You can make it happen.
And that's the thing that I'm most impressed about with you is that it's doable.
It is.
No one says that it's I love the scene in Mission Impossible,
Right.
where the guy says,
Right.
It's not mission difficult.
Yeah, this
Right.
is not mission difficult.
It's mission impossible.
Yeah.
But it is doable.
It is.
Right.
It takes a lot of organization.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot. And it's a lot of networking. And you know what? To parents out there, your kids do grow up.
Right.
Yeah.
They do grow up. If your child has severe issues, then you're right. Maybe they can never be left alone. But right now, I'm here,
Right.
and my
Correct.
son knows he won't be able to reach me because my phone's on silent.
Yeah.
But he has a list of numbers in not one, not two, but 3 different places of emergency phone numbers if, God forbid, there is a problem. You have to be 10 steps ahead when you are the parent of a special needs child.
Now, your company, Cirque Imagination,
Mhm.
I definitely want to take people's attention to this website because I
Thank
went
you.
to the website
And
today.
no, that is not me. I know you were wondering, but that is not me.
I thought
On the
that was
landing
you.
page,
That's not you.
I promise you that
I
wasn't
think
even
you're-
me.
I think you're just covering.
Not even in a former life.
Yeah.
I promise you that was not me. She is an extraordinary artist.
Well, let me spell Cirque. It's CIRQUE, CirqueImagination.com. Definitely go to that website. There's an event that's coming here. Now, let's talk a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, we want to know what all the ruckus is about.
That's right. And that was a great play on words.
Yeah.
And that is my show coming. If you are not familiar with the Stafford Performing Arts Center, it is a great venue.
It is.
Seats about 1,200 people on the corner of Murphy Road and Cash Road. This is our 3rd time coming back to Houston with our new show, Ruckus. We do not have elephants. We do not have peanuts. I am not the circus. I am Cirque.
Gotcha.
A lot of people say, oh, you're Cirque du Soleil. I am not Cirque du Soleil. But what I have is former artists of Cirque du Soleil and artists that were trained
Wow.
by former artists of Cirque du Soleil. I have an incredible creative director who is an award-winning trapeze artist who was in Saltimbanco, one of the earlier Cirque shows.
Right.
Family friendly, audiences of all ages. And what I love about our Cirque shows, it doesn't matter if you speak English.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't matter because it's Cirque. You're watching trapeze.
That's
You're
right.
watching contortion. You're watching acrobatics. You're watching hand balancers. It is so incredible to watch, and it is literally for audiences of all ages. I have a group of senior citizens coming. Probably the youngest is 75.
Wow.
We have children
The
that
youngest.
come. And I would say the youngest, I mean, you know your kids better than I
Sure.
do. I don't know that I would bring babies because the loud noise might
Right.
disturb them. But I have 2-year-olds that are just mesmerized.
Because they want to do this stuff. They want to
do.
turn
They want to
flips and
start
they want to
dancing up
climb
on
on
stage.
stuff. Yeah, that's right.
And it's incredible. And Cirque Imagination was born about 4 years ago. And we wanted to bring Cirque, the affordable side of Cirque, to Houston.
Wow.
Because Cirque du Soleil tickets cost, I think the cheapest ticket is probably $85.
Yeah, I was just about to say
we
about
have
$80.
tickets as low as $20.
$20.
And if you've been to the Stafford Center, that's in the balcony, but it's still a great seat.
Well, I'm going to hold you right there because I want to come back and talk about the value that you're bringing with Cirque, okay? And let me tell you what, folks, you know what? You ought to tune back. Just stay with us because you want to know what the ruckus is all about. All right? You're listening to Cruz and Hughes on Small Business Today, brought to you by GrowSocial.com. Maximize your social media like Facebook and Twitter for your business. Call Grow Social at 877-484-3961. More with Ms. Judy Blake right after this. Don't go away.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com. Or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at,
Excuse me, heavy news?
you know, disasters, politics, stock market,
And this alternative is...
coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan. The storm's coming. The legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Gautam's reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruzandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Our guest today is Miss Judy Blake. Judy is a speaker, author, and an entrepreneur. She wrote a book called Judy's World. If you'd like to get more information on Judy, you can go to her website, which is judysworld.info. You can see what the book is about. You can purchase a book there. You could even book Judy to come and speak to your office or your business and perhaps help you through these types of situations if you have these experiences. Now, Judy has a company called Cirque Imagination, and I definitely want to bring your attention to that. She has a show that's coming up in October here in the Houston area, so if you're in town, you don't want to miss this. But go and have a look at the website, and it gives you an idea of what you're going to see. It's CirqueImagination.com, and that's CIRQUE, CirqueImagination.com. Now, Judy, how did you bring this together? I mean, who does this?
I know.
This is some P.T. Barnum type stuff. You know?
I mean, Judy, out of all the things you could have done,
I know.
You decided on this.
I know. And I can't even do a cartwheel.
Yep.
Okay. And I promise you, 95% of my clients, they probably can't do a cartwheel.
Absolutely not.
So we're doing great.
That's why we're so impressed.
Thank you. Thank you. My boyfriend, the Cirque Imagination is owned by 3 people. I have 2 partners. And my boyfriend used to do corporate events all over the country. And he was at a trade show once, and he ran into some Cirque artists who said, oh, they now have a public show. Calls me up and says, why can't we do a public show? We can do it if they can do it.
Wow.
I said, you know what? You're right. I kept my job, made sure I had the first show under my belt, and it went so well that that's when Cirque Imagination was born. And it was a matter of, the power of networking. We all talk about that.
Sure.
That's right.
Running into somebody years later and putting this show together. And the focus has sort of evolved. Originally, it was public shows. We did Houston, we did Atlanta, we did Dallas. But now we do corporate shows. We do private events. If you're looking to spice up your holiday event, my latest email blast was Cirque for the Holidays. If you're looking to just spice it up with an aerial act or a contortionist,
Oh, wow.
a mime, we have strolling characters. And it was one of those visions that I had. And when I thought of the company name, I always think of taglines because kind of like what you do, Cruz and Hughes, it's very catchy.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just cirqueimagination.com because I knew on the website it was imagine the possibilities, imagine their surprise. Imagine the dollars because we perform at galas and fundraisers.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are always looking for something different to entertain their guests.
Right.
Especially at these galas that are $500 a ticket. You better deliver.
Absolutely.
And it can't always just be a band.
That's right.
Or a keynote speaker.
Right.
So we tell people, journey into our world of Cirque Imagination. And imagine those possibilities. And you can have one act. You can have multiple acts. You can have a 20-minute show, a 45-minute show. The show at the Stafford Center is going to be October 19th and 20th, and it's a 90-minute show with an intermission.
Okay.
And we customize to meet the client's needs to the extent possible. I do hire artists that are very skilled, very well trained. Could I find somebody for you at $300? I'm sure I could, but I wouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that somebody who costs $300 isn't good. I have just found that the higher caliber artists that I find are the ones that I am most pleased with.
Sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And we really try to, as we say in the profession, we bend over backwards for our customers.
Oh, wow.
Just
You really
like
mean
our
that.
contortionists.
That's just great.
Yes,
from our
we
contortionist.
do.
That's
Now,
wonderful.
Judy, you go from being a mother of 2 sons, working 2 jobs.
Right.
And now you put together these magnificent shows.
Thank you.
Now you take this on the road. So you do shows in other cities, other states.
Mm-hmm. I do. Now we've more focused on the corporate aspect of it. So when I do a corporate gig, I fly in the day before. We have the show or the event, and I either fly out that night or the next morning. Now my one son is in college, and my younger son, I have either had to hire sitters. 3 years ago, thank you God, we moved my mother here from Michigan because she's 82 years old, and I believe that parents, when they age, should be near their children if possible, so that you can help them.
Sure.
And so she helps me out. I get business in Houston, which is wonderful. Houston's a great city to do business.
Absolutely.
I do oil and gas companies and schools and fundraisers and you name it. And we do private parties. I did a Cirque show for somebody's 40th birthday in their backyard.
Really?
In their backyard.
In their backyard. It was, needless to say,
the big backyard.
Quite the swanky enda.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I have to say then, if you are the type of business where you want to entertain your guests,
spice up that event,
spice it up, impress people,
That's
how
right.
great would it be to bring some people in that are going to be,
dangling in the air, twisting
scantily
their body,
clad.
Scantily clad. However, if you are a conservative company, my artists can be more covered.
So, and that's something that you can negotiate.
Absolutely.
Very
if
nice.
you tell us, because we've worked for some religious organizations.
Certainly.
And you do want to be careful. Or if you're working for, where the audience is all teenagers.
Yeah.
You want to try to keep those hormones in check if possible.
Yeah.
Granted, their bodies are exquisite, but we can certainly adjust the costume.
Ooh, I like that. Exquisite.
Exquisite.
Wow.
Yes.
I used to have an exquisite body.
You still do. Don't be silly. Oh,
Guys,
come on now.
You have to go and check this website out. It's cirquimagination.com. The show, if you're in the Houston area, is coming October
19th and 20th.
19th and 20th. However, if you love to bring Judy's show to your city, you can definitely go to her website and contact her through there. Now, do you want to give a phone number out just in case somebody does want to call your business?
Absolutely. It's 832-754-6700.
6700.
You bet.
Now, before we go into break, I have to say that you started this 4 years ago.
Yes.
How has business been?
Business has been going very well because we diversify. And as entrepreneurs, you know the importance of diversification. Initially we started off with public shows thinking that was going to be the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Then we were getting hired for corporate gigs. And then we were getting hired for private events. And you really have to constantly be changing to suit the economy.
Right.
Your clients.
Got to move.
You know what? These are still difficult times.
Sure.
Granted, Houston is doing quite well overall, but you know what? Not everyone is. And while business is going well at Cirquimagination, I always strive to make it better. I think that's part of the spirit.
Wow.
No doubt about it. Well, Judy, let me tell you, we're not going to let you off the air without getting the opportunity to learn more about what speed networking is.
Oh, thank you.
Because, folks, I don't know if you know, but you've been to networking events, and you know what? It takes up a good part of your time, and you may not even know how to network. So when we come back, we're going to ask you, Judy, about what is speed networking and what have you gotten yourself into now, because you are quite the entrepreneur. Folks, you're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. It's brought to you by the Lexington Law Firm. When you need credit help, get a free consultation today by calling 888-744-7081. More in a moment with Miss Judy.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
we've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
So how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cuny is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancuny.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan.
The storm's coming.
The legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Gotham's Reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Our guest is Miss Judy Blake. Judy is the author of a book called Judy's World. If you'd like to get more information on the book, you can go to judysworld.info. Judy also has a company called Cirque Imagination, and Cirque Imagination is having a show that's coming to the Houston area in October 19th and 20th. You can go to cirqueimagination.com for information on that show. I look forward to seeing you guys there. I, too, will be there, and I'm going to bring my mother. And let's talk a little bit about the networking event that you host, which is quarterly.
Yes.
That's Speed Networking.
Speed networking. You've heard of speed dating.
Not to be confused with speed dating.
That's right.
Okay.
Speed networking. How often do you go, you're talking to somebody, and you want to talk to somebody else, but you don't want to be rude?
That's right.
That's what you can do here. Or what if you're somebody who's kind of shy?
Oh.
You're trying to cultivate your business. You're trying to make more contacts, but walking into a room of 100 people is really frightening to you. We have the answer. If you go to ReadySetLet'sNetwork.com.
ReadySetLet'sNetwork.com. Okay.
You can sign up. It's only $15. Our next event is October 1st from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Coming up soon
at the Hess Club in the Galleria area.
Okay.
And our featured speaker is someone you know very well for about 10 or 15 minutes, Dana Steele.
Wow.
So you are in for a treat. Because if you haven't heard her speak, she is fabulous.
Folks, Dana Steele is the person to go and see. We had her on the show as a guest, and
she's amazing.
She is absolutely
She has
amazing.
led the most incredible life and continues to.
Right.
So what we try to do is one side of the table is stationary. The other side of the table, about every 4 minutes, moves. You have 2 minutes for each side to talk about themselves. You exchange business cards. It's a perfect way to meet a lot of people. It's fun, light appetizers. You have a drink ticket. For $15, what have you got to lose?
Very cool.
Judy, we appreciate you so much for coming on the
My
show.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, and we look forward to seeing you at
you.
cirqueimagination.com.
We're going to put you in spandex.
Woohoo!
And you should pay to see that.
Yes. Yes.
Guys, we want to thank you for tuning in to Small Business Today, which has been brought to you by Small Business Today magazine and our good friends at Sales Nexus. If you need a good CRM that will help you improve sales, go to salesnexus.com. Irv, until tomorrow, what do we always tell them? Be smart, be successful, and above all else,
be in action.
Irv and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.
Thank you.